Closed captioning sponsored by Superior Toyota Hyundai and WVU Medicine Camden Clark.
Ohio election results are in. We have more about the races for Marietta and Belpre City Councils and Boards of Education. And the Washington County 911 tax renewal levy is approved to 70% of the vote. We talked to the sheriff and other officials about what this will mean for the county. Meteorologist Kirk Greenfield has your forecast, and Ryan Wilson joins us in sports. WTAP News at 11 starts now.
Live from our studios at One Television Plaza, this is WTAP News at 11.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for election coverage. I'm Phyllis Smith. And before we dive into those results, let's check with meteorologist Kirk Greenfield about this chilly forecast. Kirk?
Well, we're very close to freezing right now. There is a freeze warning for the overnight as we take a look at the view up in Marietta on the Jan Dills Marietta Skycam atop the Lafayette Hotel. 33 degrees right now. The relative humidity 82%. The winds are calm, and the barometer 30.32 inches and steady. That's a pretty high value. The freeze warning, everything in purple that you can see, is likely to go below freezing tonight. Already the counties to the north that are not shaded in, they've already experienced a freezing temperature. So it's our turn tonight. If you have any plants, you're going to want to get them indoors immediately if you're trying to extend their life, because they certainly aren't going to survive this as we get down to about 29 by 8 a.m. I'll be back in just a few moments to tell you how many nights we're going to have to deal with this. Back to you.
Thank you, Kirk. Let's start our election coverage in Marietta with results for City Council and Board of Education. There are elections today for Boards of Education throughout Washington County. In Marietta, there are 6 people running for 3 open seats on its school board. Cody Parman has 2,313 votes. Eric P. Reed has 2,295. Sam Tootin has 2,160 votes. Rudolph John Lehman has 1,899 votes. Parman, Reed, and Tootin are the unofficial winners. We have a few more candidates on this slide. Ethan Vessels won 1,855 votes in this race, and Seth Miller got 763. There is only one contested race among the 7 seats up today on Marietta City Council, and it's for an open seat. Democrat Brett Alphen and Republican Christopher Pfeiffer are the 2 candidates voters in Council's 2nd Ward are deciding on. The election is the first since Mayor Josh Schlicker was elected in 2019. Alphen secured 56% of the vote and is the unofficial winner. Todd Boucher tonight has been closely following some of the races in the city of Marietta. He joins us now live in the Digital Center with reaction from one of the successful candidates. Todd.
Well, as you mentioned, Phyllis, the one contested race for Marietta City Council was for Council's 2nd Ward, and it was between a couple of newcomers to city politics. Democrat Brett Alphen defeated Republican Christopher Pfeiffer by a little more than 60 votes to win election to the council seat that's been held for years by Michael McCauley. Alphen tells me he's looking forward to serving and working toward improving a downtown area that has seen some promising development in recent.
The largest amount of feedback I got was around, the positive feedback and momentum that downtown Marietta is having and is experiencing right now. So I'm really anxious to help keep our foot on the gas and keep that momentum for downtown going forward. We know that it means so much to people, so I'm really excited for that.
The Board of Education will get 3 new members come January in Marietta. Cody Parman, Eric Reed, and Sam Tootin have won election to those 3 seats. Each got more than 2,000 votes. Reed, who is a parent in the school system, says the Marietta system is not as successful as it could be and says some things might have to be addressed possibly before the 3 new members take their positions in the new year.
I would say that there's a general vibe that people think we can be a little bit better. I feel like we're not that far off. We have some things in place that the current board has put in place that I think give us a chance to really make some gains going forward.
Now, as far as turnout goes today, less than 22% of registered voters in Washington County came to vote in this off-year election.
Todd Boucher reporting live in the Digital Center. Todd, thank you for that information. Let's check now in with Belpre's election results. The city of Belpre has 4 people running for the 3 at-large council seats. Marvin Richter and Paul Wallace, both of whom have no party affiliation listed, are in the running, along with Republican incumbents David Ferguson and John Ruth. John W. Ruth has 675 votes, David E. Ferguson has 615, Paul Wallace has 415, Marvin Richter has 278 votes. Ruth, Ferguson, and Wallace are the unofficial winners until the results are certified. For Belpre's Board of Education, current members Fred Meredith and Leonard Wiggins are on the ballot. Fred Meredith has 618 votes, Molly Hott has 605 votes, Michael Miller has 543. Incumbent Leonard L. Wiggins, the second, trails close behind with 20% of the vote. He got 531. Fred Meredith, Molly Hott, and Michael Miller are the unofficial winners. Frank Meredith, continuing on that, the fourth, he got 314 votes, which is 12%. Some of the winners who will fill these seats in Belpre's City Council and School Board spoke with our Caitlin Streeter on what they hope to achieve in their roles.
While the members have yet to meet with each other and flesh out details on what issues they want to tackle first, several City Council and School Board members say their goal is to work with each other to make improvements specifically for its youngest residents. New City Council member John Ruth says one of his main goals is to work with the school system to provide a youth center in town.
The heart of the city should be the young families and young people, as well as the school system. So I think there's a lot of potential there. Belpre has a lot of potential.
In addition to creating more opportunities for the city's youth, Ruth says he wants to see the city's water system improve and more housing developed in order to help with the growth potential that the city is experiencing around the new Marietta Memorial Belpre campus. Echoing Ruth's desire to cater to the Belpre students and young families is incumbent council member Fred Meredith.
To get back up into times and get data driven and get our kids up to speed and college ready, we've got to have technology, and we want people to come to Belpre. You know, to people to move into Belpre, the first thing you check on is your school system and housing. And if you don't have a top-notch school system, people, tend to go elsewhere.
Meredith, who is entering his fourth term on the school board, says he also would like to see the board manage its budget better.
The school system is a business. I mean, it's a $11 million a year business, and we got to do the best we can because our employees is our students. So we got to take the taxpayers' money and spend it wisely.
Molly Hott, who is entering her first term on the school board, says in addition to crunching numbers, she plans to help the school board and the city council be more transparent.
Not just to the citizens, although that's part of it, but also with each other. I think that understanding comes from transparency and communication.
Caitlin Streeter, WTAP, Belpre.
On the ballot tonight, too, in Washington County is a renewal of a tax for the 911 system. 71% of voters approved the tax levy renewal. 29% of voters were against it. Now that we know the result of the Washington County 911 renewal levy, what will it mean for the county? Our Zach Shrivers followed the ballot issue and has reaction from the Chief Deputy of the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
The Washington County Sheriff's Office says this levy is vital to the upkeep of the county's 911 system, which Chief Deputy Mark Warden says will help all first responders in the county, not just the Sheriff's Department. He says the system has 3 call centers, one in the Sheriff's Department, one in the Marietta Police Department, and one in the Belpre Police Department, all of which will directly benefit from the levy. Now, the levy pays for annual maintenance fees, equipment, and further growth of the system. It also funds the Public Service Answering Point, the equipment that helps route 911 calls and allows dispatchers to answer those calls. The original levy was passed 5 years ago in order to counteract rising costs and dwindling revenue, and those issues began as landline use declined, and Washington County officials say the state capped surcharges on 911 calls made from cell phones.
Landlines are dying across the nation because of the cell phones, and then the cap on the cell phone surcharge was dwindling down, and the equipment that was needed for the next generation 911 system, which was the original levy, and now to sustain that and to actually grow is just absolutely awesome.
Chief Deputy Warden says he's thankful to the voters who chose to help the 911 system. Now back to you.
Thank you, Zach. Now on to some other results tonight. For Warren Local School Board of Education, incumbent Vice President Deborah A. Proctor got 1,097 votes. Incumbent Bob Allen got 1,005 votes. Incumbent President Bob Crum got 983 votes. They are the three unofficial winners of the race tonight. Jeffrey C. Knowlton, the incumbent vice president for Frontier Local School District Board of Education, has 625 votes. M. Joni Reese, the incumbent vice president, has 619 votes. Incumbent Jennifer Ramsey has 499. Danny Vanway has 473. Knowlton, Reese, and Ramsey are the unofficial winners. Still ahead, Mike Carey is the unofficial winner of Ohio's 15th congressional district race, defeating Allison Russo. That story is next at 11.
A freeze warning has been issued for most of southern Ohio and the Mid-Ohio Valley. That's next.
You're watching WTAP News at 11 with Phyllis Smith, Kirk Greenfield with your pinpoint weather forecast, and Ryan Wilson with sports.
It appears Republican candidate Mike Carey will soon be on his way to Washington. He's the projected winner in Ohio's 15th congressional district special election. Let's check in again with our D.C. Bureau reporter Kristen Casper. She joins us live from Carey's watch party in Ohio. Kristen.
Hey, Phyllis. Yeah, the crowd might be dying down a bit here in Lancaster, Ohio at Mike Carey's watch party, but they're still very excited. They just got word that the Republican candidate has defeated Allison Russo, the Democratic candidate, in Ohio's 15th congressional district special election. Now, Mike Carey was endorsed by President Donald Trump. He ran on many of the same values as the former president, tightening border security and reining in government spending. He addressed a large crowd of supporters tonight before those results came in, and in his speech he appeared confident, and he said he just got off the phone with the president. Of course, he was talking about former President Donald Trump. Now, Carey will now go on to work in Washington immediately, and he'll have to get up to speed quickly as a lot of hot ticket items are coming up on the congressional agenda. Now, we tried to chat with Carey after tonight's event, but his campaign declined our request, saying that he was just chatting with supporters tonight. Now, reporting live from Lancaster at Mike Carey's watch party, I'm Kristen Casper. Phyllis, back to you.
Let's check with meteorologist Kirk Greenfield for another look at the forecast. Kirk.
Well, it's a chilly night, and we're just about ready to slip into the freezing range. When we take a look at our radar satellite composite, we can see the last of the clouds departing the area, giving us clear skies and allowing those temperatures to drop even faster than expected. As a result, that freeze warning that was set to go into effect at 2 may already have to be in effect in the area. The Highmark West Virginia Skycam says we're at 33 degrees, 82% relative humidity. The winds are calm, and the barometer it's 30.32 inches and steady. That's a pretty high value. All of this works in favor of freezing temperatures arriving before 2 a.m. Well, here's where we have the freeze warning. Everything in purple that you can see across southern Ohio and into West Virginia. Now, areas to the north have already experienced freezing temperatures, so this northern edge is actually rather soft. These are the areas that have not seen freezing temperatures yet. It's scheduled to go into effect about 2 a.m. till 10 a.m., but we're obviously going to hit freezing before that. So the current conditions around the area, 33 in Parkersburg, already 30 in Athens, 39 in Charleston, 40 in Columbus. So the bigger cities are hanging on. The rural areas are already sliding into the freezing zone with calm conditions as well. Any breezes generally from the west to northwest, maybe 7 to 9 miles per hour. We're about 13 degrees colder than we were last night at this time. Athens and Lancaster, 16. So the most recent radar echoes, as you can see, we're generally clear. The snow, precipitation generally in the Great Lakes. Some lake effect snow is coming off, turning over into some snow flurries. No major accumulation expected up there, and the trajectory is not right to carry it down to the Mid-Ohio Valley. So it does look like we'll have northwest breezes, if any, but they won't have snow. Well, Futurecast, as we put it into motion, shows generally clear conditions continuing overnight. As we get into tomorrow, sunshine for the majority of the day, so we'll rebound to about 49 tomorrow. But again, virtually every day we're going to see that same scenario. If you haven't already done your leaf work outside, your yard work, you'll probably want to take care of that pretty soon. It'll be mostly clear and cool. Well, our overnight getting down to about 28, clear and cold with the last crescent moon up extremely late. Tomorrow, 49 for the high, mostly sunny conditions. And looking at the extended forecast, virtually every day this week will be close to 50 degrees, but the overnights are all below freezing all the way to next work week. So you have to make those preparations, if you haven't already, immediately. Well, tonight's winner for the Sketch the Outdoors contest, sponsored by People's Bank, is the White House by Brooks Ware, age 5, from Marietta. If you'd like to enter the daily contest, submit your digital copy of your child's outdoor artwork on our WTAP webpage. Look for the entry Sketch the Outdoors and follow all directions to upload and enter. A new winner is drawn each weekday and presented both 6 and 11 p.m. newscasts. Phyllis?
Thank you, Kirk. Still ahead, we talked to the Vienna police chief about what to do if you are ever in an active shooter situation. Next at 11. Over the weekend, Vienna police say a gunman entered a Walmart with a loaded gun. While as of Saturday, no witnesses said he was pointing the gun at anyone, they said he held the gun pointing it out in front of himself. Our Laura Bowen spoke to Vienna Police Chief Mike Pfeiffer about what you should do if you ever find yourself in a situation like this. Laura.
After hearing about the Vienna gunman incident, you might find yourself wondering, what would I have done in that situation, and would it even be the right thing?
It's a situation no one wants to be in, but if you are, there are 3 basic responses you have to choose from. The first is run. You want to get away as fast as you can. However, if this isn't possible, you hide. And if that isn't possible, you fight. Once police are on scene, Piper says to avoid asking police questions unless absolutely necessary, since law enforcement's main focus will be addressing the threat. Now that you know what to do, here's what not to do.
The worst possible thing to do, I think, is attempting to intervene when you don't have the resources to do it. Because that probably, the probability shows it's going to end up badly.
Once you're out of a situation as a witness, you can talk to police about what you saw once the scene is cleared. Piper says you can go up to any police officer on the scene for this. You can also call the non-emergency 911 number, call the police department, contact them via Facebook, email, or even the Vienna Police West Virginia app.
Let's pray you're never in this situation. However, hopefully this story bridges that gap between wondering what you would do and knowing what you should do. Back to you.
Thanks, Laura. The man accused of putting potentially explosive devices on barges on the Ohio River will stay in custody following a preliminary hearing today. Nathaniel Becker appeared in federal court in Charleston today. Becker's lawyers argued he should be allowed to stay at his home in Marietta, noting his job and 3 children. The federal prosecutor argued he was as a danger to the community and referenced his felony arrest in 2020. The judge ruled Becker should stay in custody because of his history of mental health problems and being under court supervision. Coming up next, some people are starting to get ready for Thanksgiving in just 4 weeks. The Salvation Army is getting ready for its Red Kettle campaign. Next at 11. The Parkersburg Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign is starting in under 3 weeks. This means you can now sign up to be a bell ringer. It's a fundraiser that supports the Salvation Army's emergency shelter, a soup kitchen that runs every night, social services that help with rent, and more. Major Patrick Richmond says this year the Parkersburg Salvation Army is hoping for all unpaid volunteer bell ringers. It's a task you can take on by yourself or with a group. The campaign will run starting November 18th on every Thursday through Saturday leading up to Christmas and on the week of Christmas, Wednesday through Friday. Major Richmond says they typically encourage people to sign up for at least a 2-hour time frame.
The services that this money will go to is endless. It's year-round, and so we push for this main fundraiser of the year because it helps to pull on the heartstrings, but it's a tangible help that we can do.
Major Richmond says the Parkersburg Salvation Army's goal for the year is to raise $100,000. You can sign up to be a bell ringer at registertoring.com, which will show you locations in Parkersburg, Ravenswood, Vienna, and Ripley. You can also call 304-485-4529 and ask for Major Patrick Richmond. Red Kettle season is quickly approaching for Marietta's Salvation Army as well. Some stands will be starting November 20th and others will start November 26th. They are also looking for bell ringers. If interested, email Major Todd Hughes at todd.hughes@hughes.salvationarmy.org, or you can call 740-373-4043. Coming up in sports, the Waterford Wildcats are preparing for their big test as they prepare to go up against Shady Side this weekend. Ryan Wilson has more on that matchup coming up next in sports.
Only 1 week left of West Virginia high school football regular season action, and teams are jockeying for playoff positioning. The penultimate WVSSAC ratings were released today, and a few more teams have a shot at the playoffs. We'll be in Class AAA, where the Parkersburg South Patriots have now re-entered the conversation. They got a much-needed win on the road against 15th-ranked Wheeling Park on Friday. That was enough to bring them from number 20 in the rankings to number 18. The playoffs are slowly starting to become a reality as the Patriots have a home game against the 10th-ranked Princeton Tigers on Friday, and a win against the top 10 team could springboard them into the playoffs as a lower seed. That game gets kicked off at 7 p.m. at the Erickson facility. Then down in Class Single A, lots of movement near the top as we saw possibly the game of the year this past weekend in Williamstown. The Yellow Jackets upset the top-ranked Doddridge County Bulldogs at home, and Williamstown has now risen up to number 6 in the Class A ratings, all but assuring them of a home first-round playoff game. All they need to do to secure that win is to get a win over Magnolia on Friday night. On the other side of that matchup, the Bulldogs suffered their first loss of the season. They sit at number 2 in Class Single A behind only Cameron. The Ritchie County Rebels got a statement win on the road against Gilmer County last week. They remain at number 4 in the Class Single A ratings. Their final regular season game is on the road against Calhoun County. And the defending Class Single A champions of the St. Mary's Blue Devils had a tough game at East Hardy last week, and they fell to number 21, so they need a win and a lot of help above them in order to get a chance to defend their crown. Well, tonight's sports poll question asks about Class Single A in a way. It asks if you think Williamstown is going to take care of business and host a playoff game next week. The results are in. It looks like a lot of you think they're going to get that win against Magnolia. Now we're going to talk some Ohio high school playoffs action now. The Waterford Wildcats coming off a shutout victory against Conotton Valley last weekend. It was a close game at half, but Waterford was able to pull away and dominate in the second. Waterford's now on a 6-game winning streak, but they faced their toughest test of the season against Shady Side. They're coming off a home playoff win of their own. The Tigers are 9-1 on the season. Their only loss was against Bel Air. Waterford head coach Eric McCutcheon talked about how talented of a team Shady Side is and what they need to do to get an upset victory.
They're a quality team. They have playmakers all over the field, have a really nice running back, real athletic quarterback. Their defense just flies to the football. So, we've got to have a great week of preparation this week. We're going to know them inside and out. We're going to, study them and we got to do what we do best. All right, we got to do what we do best. We can't worry too much about them. Yes, we're playing on their home turf, but that's gonna be all right. We'll get on that yellow bus and we'll go play anybody. So we're excited for it.
Well, more sectional volleyball action headlines this Tuesday night of live sports in Class AAA Region 4 Section 2 volleyball edition of the Crosstown Showdown at Hurricane. It would be the Parkersburg Lady Big Reds who get the win on this night over Parkersburg South 3-0 in Class Single A Region 1. Ritchie came all the way back in the final game and they advanced to the sectional final after their 3-2 win over the Williamstown Yellow Jackets. Well, to college football, the West Virginia Mountaineers may have just saved their season after their big win against 22nd ranked Iowa State at home. Quarterback Jarrett Dagey threw for a career-high 370 yards and 3 touchdowns. It brings the Mountaineers back to 500 on the season. The tests don't stop for West Virginia. They'll be staying at home, taking on the top 11 team, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Head coach Neil Brown talked about his team's fight in the win last weekend and then looks ahead to the matchup with the Cowboys. And Dagey talked about what he has improved on throughout the season.
We were fortunate to come out ahead, but it was a physical game by two teams that competed really, really hard. And we were fortunate enough to win. I thought our guys made enough plays throughout the game. Really proud of their resiliency. Them as a whole, they play great complementary football. They run the ball on defense or on offense. They're able to hit shot plays, and then defense, they've been lights out. They're at they're one of the top teams in the entire country defensively.
I mean, I don't really know. I think I just keep going back to work, and I put in so much work in the off season, and it's finally, I guess, just clicking.
Well, the college football playoff rankings are out for the first time of the 2021 season. Georgia claims the top spot, but after that, there's controversy. Alabama with one loss, number 2. Michigan State is undefeated and ranked number 3. And Oregon's win over Ohio State, keeping them above the Buckeyes. They sit at 4. Ohio State's 5th. And undefeated Cincinnati is 6th. Michigan, Oklahoma, Wake Forest, and Notre Dame round out the top 10. The final college football rankings will be revealed in December. Well, that does it for sports tonight. When we come back, Kirk has one last look at your weather.
You can download the free Pinpoint Weather app from WTAP and get all the weather information downloaded into the palm of your hand on your phone. Well, tonight we're going down to about 28, 29, depending on where you're at. Mostly clear, and there is a freeze warning in effect until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Not looking forward to walking outside.
Yeah.
Cold. Thank you, Kurt. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and good night.